Are you able to hear my voice? Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this application we have created previously. Okay. This is a student controller. Now here we have passed the data from static data only. We have a passed from controller to view using the model view data, type data. Okay. View bag and then model after that a view model. So these many ways we have passed the data from controller to view. But this data is not coming from database. But in real time, we have to get data from database. So we have a different approaches. One is the ADO.NET, another one is the entity framework. Okay. So I'm removing this code. Okay. Then it is clear to you. Completely, I'm removing. This is a student controller. Okay. And then I expand this one. Views student. So in student, we have a index data, CS, HTML. So here also we have a this data. Now I'm removing this one also. Student index page. So copy this one and then run this application. Student. So we have a student index page. In this, we don't have a, we just have a header only. Now what I want to get data from database. Okay. So in real time, we'll create models. Okay. But some other projects. Okay. So they will create a separate entity model library class. Okay. And they will get a data from there. So here also I'm creating the one more project inside this one. Right click on a solution. So there is a different way. So we can directly create a database connection from models. Okay. But better to understand how to give the references from one project to another project. Okay, I want to explain you in a real time only. That is why I'm creating the one more project. Right click on solution, click on add, click on new project. So in this new project, we have to select a class library. Okay, if you observe here, we have a class library .NET framework. Okay, select this option. .NET framework. Don't forget this one, class library .NET framework. If you not find here right side, just search here, class library. Okay. Remove this web, all types of projects, select here. So if select all type project, it will display the class library .NET framework. Okay. Select this option. Click on next. So give the project name. I'm giving the business project. Business layer or data access layer, anything you can give it. So inside, after that, I'm creating a project. Now, if you observe here, this MEC 9 AM project is a web application. This business layer is a complete class library. Okay. So here we have to create only classes. This project doesn't have a UI. Now by default they given a class one, okay, one file. So here what I want to create a one my own class. So I'm rename this one. Right click on this one, click on rename. Instead of class one, we have to give the meaningful name. So I'm giving the data access. Data access means a database connection. We are giving data access. Click on enter. Click on OK. Now this is automatically renamed. So in this class, I want to give the connection to the my database. So in ADO.NET, okay, in ADO.NET to get the data from database. So whenever you want to get data from database, first we need a SQL connection. So it is required for a database connection. After that, SQL command is required. This command is used to execute the SQL queries. Okay, this is a command. And then if you want to read data from database, for example, I want to get a list of data. In that scenario, we have to use a data reader. So this data reader is used for reading the data from a database. And then we have some commands. Execute a reader. So this execute reader is a method. It is used to read this data. Okay. And then execute a non-query. It is a method. This method returns the integer type. Okay. This method returns the int type. So int type means if it is insert or update or delete, these commands whenever you are working on insert, update, delete, in that scenario, this if that insert or update or delete is successfully happen in a database, it will return the 1. If it is failed, it will return the 0. Okay. So in database, we have to work on ADO.NET these commands. So before this one, we have to set up a database connection. Connection is the required. Now open SQL Server. Okay. So here in SQL Server, as of now, we are using the Windows authentication. So we have a server name, but in the real time, okay, they will use the username and the password instead of a Windows authentication. In a server type, they will select the this database engine, okay, and then they will give the server name. After that, they will give the SQL Server authentication. So in SQL Server authentication, they'll use the login and the password. Okay. So there is no difference. Windows authentication or login or password connection is the same. Okay. So as of now, we are using the Windows authentication. Now select the Windows authentication. So if you observe here, we have a server name. It is mandatory for a connection the database. Okay. This server name is required. Now open the Visual Studio. Come here in web.config, okay, we have to give the database connections. Now here give the connection strings. Okay. So this connection string is a free-defined type. In this, add the name. Okay. So add name is equal to, I'm giving the name of database connection. DB connection. Then connection string. Okay. So this is the name DB connection we are going to use in our ADO.NET. After that, connection string. This is important. Here only we have to give our database connection. So I already have taken this database connection. I will explain you everything what is what. Now, in copying this, and then paste here. Okay. What is this? This is a server. This server name equal to this one. This server name we have to give. And then I'm going to click on connect and click on execute new query. So what is our database? Our database is a morning 9 a.m. class. Now open this one. Here database name we have to give the morning 9 a.m. database. That is our database name, right? Morning 9 a.m. And then we are using the Windows authentication. So in Windows authentication, if you give the integrated security SSPI, okay, so automatically connect our database. This is a database connection string. This is our SQL connection string server name, server equal to server name, and then database equal to database name. Integrated security means it is a Windows authentication. Okay, so that is a database connection. Now save this one now, and then come to here data access. Here also save this one. Now I want retrieve this string connection string con str equal to configuration manager dot. Okay, now if you see here, if I type also, I'm not getting this class of predefined class. So using the statement using configuration here also I'm not getting. So what we have to do, because if you are not getting this one means we have to add the references. So very important point to add references to our application. Okay, it is very important concept. Now right click on this project, click on the references. So in this references, okay, we have to select the configuration. Okay. See here we have a system data configuration. Now click on OK. Now this configuration, see in the references folder, it is added a system data configuration. And then we required one more reference is SQL reference. Now here we have to select SQL using system dot data dot assemblies. Roll down this. we'll add it. So here string connection str equal to configuration manager session manager. So we have to add a names as a system data configuration and then connection strings. So in this connection string, it is have a two overload methods. Okay, if you click on this icon, it is expecting the string name or index position. So we'll give the string name and then data connection string. Okay, so here we have to give the connection string name. What is the connection string name? DB connection is our connection string name. Copy this one and paste here. After that, we know the connection string. Now, what I want to write up one method to get the data from a database. So in C#, what we know how to create a class, how to create a method. So we know that. Now I'm going to create a one more method, public. Just I'm taking the void right now. I will change the return type. Get student data. So this is my method name inside a class. So SQL connection using system data SQL client. Okay. So if you are using this namespace using system data SQL client, we can use this predefined class SQL connection. Now SQL connection on equal to new SQL connection. If you open this bracket, click on this overload method. Now see it is expecting the string connection string. So we have to pass the connection string here. So this connection string from here, con str, I'm passing the connection string. This is a connection string I'm passing. And then SQL command. Okay. SQL command cmd equal to new SQL command. If I open this bracket, now it has a different methods. One is a string command text, and the second one is a SQL connection. And then it is expecting the what is the command of SQL and connection string, and if there is any transactions. Okay, and connection string transactions. So SQL command column encryption strings. Okay. So this encryption strings we are not going to use. Don't worry. These transactions also we are not going to use. Just we have to give the our connection string and then select queries. Okay. So copy this one and the connection. Pass this connection. And then here. So in a real time, we'll use the store procedure to get data from a database. Okay. So we'll use the two ways. One is the without store procedure and the second one is the with the store procedure. Now I'm opening the database. So I'm selecting the morning 9 a.m. What are the classes we have? Select star from TBL employee. Select star from TBL. We don't have student table. I thought we have created different tables under TBL employee, product, okay, country, state, okay, no problem. So if I execute this one, we have this data, and then we have a store procedures also we have created, right? Previously, get employees, right? Get employee, insert, update, delete, everything we have ready in a database, I mean a store procedure. Now I will show you without writing store procedure and then with the store procedure, different ways I want to show you. Okay, so this is a query I'm going to use in my database connection string. Okay, I'm passing the select star from, remove these lines, select star from table name, and I given the connection string. After that, SQL command dot, sorry, cmd dot command type equal to command type data text, and then I want to read this data, right? So I have to use the SQL Data Reader. Okay, SQL Data Reader. So this SQL Data Reader used to read the data from a database. To read, I told you execute reader. Execute reader is a method. It is used to read data from a database. Now we have to use a loop while data reader this object. Okay, data reader dr dot read. Read is a predefined method. Now if you observe here in this table, we have a first name, last name, salary, joining date, email, and then age, and then manager ID. Okay, leave this manager ID as of now not required for us. So how many columns total we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. So these columns we have to create a model to get data from database. Okay. Now click on this solution. Click on add, and then class, take one more class. So here I'm going to use the employee class, employee model. This is my model name. Click on add. So what are the classes we have? First name, last name, right? Public, public into ID, and then string last name. So after that last name, what do we have? First name, last name, salary, joining date, email. So this is a integer type. This is a salary, and then email, and then joining date. It is a date time, and then age, public, int age. Get set. So these are the columns we have our employee table. Okay. Now I want to use this model. Okay. Copy this model. Don't worry about this. First time you will a little bit of confusion. Okay. After that, we have a clear understanding if you practice 2-3 times. Okay. I'm creating the object to this class. Now this employee model dot. So we have a first name, right? First name equal to. So where this first name is coming from? It is coming from data reader. So data reader of. So two ways to get this data. One is by indexing. One is a string name. Don't use the index position. Use the name. Data reader of. So this exact name we have to give the column, means otherwise we will get a error. So here we have a first name, F capital, first name, and then we have a employee model dot last name. So copy this one, paste here. Here instead of first name, use the last name, and then we have a email. This employee model data email equal to here email. Okay, and then salary. Employee model dot salary equal to convert dot 2 into 32 because it is a integer type. So we have to convert to integer. Data reader of salary. This is our column name. And then age. Employee model dot age equal to convert dot 2 into 32 data reader of age. And then finally we have a joining date. This employee model dot joining date. So the data type, it is a date time, right? So we have to convert into data. Convert dot date time of data reader of joining date. Okay, these are the columns we have. Now I want to get a list of data. Okay, so list means this object, every row it is a one object. So one row it is a one object. So this is a list because we are getting the number of records. This number of records we have called a list. Okay, now as of now I have only class, but I don't have a list. I need to create a one list. So in a C# we learn the generic collections. Okay, how to create a list, how to add data into that list, and then how to read data from that list. Same concept we will use in a real time generic list. So I'm going to create a list. The list type is a employee model. Okay, add list equal to new list. So in this list, I want to add this data dynamically. Come here, this list dot add this class object. If you confuse this employee model and this employee model, you can use the obj or object, any name you can use here instead of employee model. Okay, so you can use any name. Now every iteration, this object is added into this list. Okay, now I want to return this type. Copy this one. Instead of void, I'm using the return type list of employee. So we need to return. So in C# we learn the different ways to return a method. So we can return a list type, we can return an integer type, we can return a string type, any data type, right? So now I'm returning the list of this employee model. So we have to return the same type, otherwise we'll get an error. So I'm going to return list. Now issue is gone. Now I want to get this data. So change this name, get employee data. Okay. Now I want to call this method into my web application. Okay. So before calling this one, we required this business layer project reference we have to give into the this web application. Now build this application. Okay, build success. Now come here, expand this references. Okay, I want add a reference here. Now right click on references, click on add reference, click on projects. In this project, I have a business layer project. Select this business layer, okay, and then click OK. Now, if you expand this one references, we have a business layer DLL. It is added a reference here. Now I can call this action. Okay, copy this data as a layer, and I want to use this into my controller. So we have student controller, right? So I'm going to create a employee controller, meaningful name. Click on controller. So MVC controller. Click on add. I'm going to give the employee controller. Okay. So in this employee controller, I have only index method. So I'm removing this one. So this data access is a class. Data access equal to new data access. So I'm creating object to this one, but it is present where it is present. It is present in a data access business layer. So we need to use using business layer namespace. Now issue is gone. Now I want to get data right. So this object data access dot. If I press the data access dot, now say I'm able to see the get employee data method. So copy this method. Now I want to store this data. I want to store and I want to iterate, right? So where it is present returning the type. Now see the return type list employee model. Okay, we have to create a list. So employee model list equal to new list. So add this list. Now the data, whatever data is returning, that is stored in this list. Okay. Now I want to retrieve this data to view. Okay. Now if you observe here, I created the employee controller, but I did not create the view. So right click on this index method, click on add view, click on view, click. So give the same name, and then I want to use this list type. Okay, okay. So as of now, leave it empty. If you give it, we don't know the how to write it from scratch. Okay, click on add. So here I'm removing this one. Add @ model. This m is a small. Okay, and then enumerable of. I want to pass this class name employee model. So this business layer dot employee model. Use a complete namespace dot employee model. Why enumerable I am giving? Whenever we are passing list of data, that time we have to use the enumerable. Are you just passing the one single object? Oh, okay, it is not required to iteration. In that scenario, we have to use a just a class name without enumerable. Okay, this is an employee index page. employee index or employee list, and add some bootstrap class equal to text text primary. Okay. Now I'm able to pass in this data. So this employee controller, I have to return this list. So in view, pass the list object. Okay. So this is the step we have completed. Now I want iteration is required. Now coming to this list. So we know the for each loop, right? So iterate for each. So where this collection is coming from? Coming from this model. So we have a model. In this model, I want to add a table. So table, add a bootstrap class, table, tbl border, and then table over. Inside that, I want to add a t head. So what we have a t head, tr. So first row in this t head, I want to add a first name. It is a header. First name, and then last name, and then email. Okay. And what do we have other columns? Salary,
Salary.
yeah, salary and date. Salary, age, joining date. For that, we require a body. So the body. Inside the body, we have a tr. Now copy this one. Control X, Control V. So we require a tr and then td. So it is the rate item dot. We have a first name, and then it is the rate item dot last name. So in real time also same. This only we are using, that is I'm explaining everything in a real time example only. Okay. It is the rate item dot email. td at the rate. Don't worry, first time it will little bit confused. Once we are practicing 2-3 times, we'll understand. Okay, salary, and then at the rate td item dot age, and finally joining date at the rate item dot joining date. Okay, now I'm going to use the one div. Inside this div, I'm going to add a class. This class container, I'm adding inside container. This table I'm going to add. So let's Control V. Save this one. So this is an employee, right? So controller name of employee. So here to navigation, shared folder, layout folder, layout page. So add one more li tag. So controller instead of student, I'm using the employee list. Okay. So method name is index only, and the controller name is employee. Save this one. Now run this application. Click on employee list. Okay. So I'm getting the executive reader requires an open and available connection. Connection string current state is closed. Okay. Now what is this issue? I'm just executing this one, but the connection string is not open. We have to open connection string and then close connection string. Okay. So we have a connection data open. We need to open the connection. After reading, okay, we need to close the connection. Connection data close. Okay. Now run this application. Click on a employee list. When I click on this, I put on a debug pointer. Okay. So this action is hit. Click on F10. Connection is establishing. Open. Reader list is created. Now, if you mouse over on this one, now see Siva I got and click on F10. Okay, list one object is added. Count is 1. If I expand this one, now see one object data is added. Now click on continue. Okay. Now I'm facing this object cannot cast from DB null to type other. Why I'm getting this issue? So in real time also we'll face the same this kind of issue. If you observe this age, okay, this age column I'm reading from database. Now DB null. So if we expand SQL Server, if you see here age column I have a 3 on, but the rest of the values are null values. So this null value it is not able to not able to convert into this type into integer. But how to fix this issue? These are the two ways to fix. One is we have to add a value into database. Second one, we have to check this one. Okay, it is a DB null or not. So in real time, we have to check it is null, then only we have to convert it into this integer type. Otherwise, we have to add a 0 value to this age column. Okay, so in real time also we'll face the same kind of issues. Now stop the debug. This copy this data reader dot age equal to db null dot value. If it is a db null value, then I'm going to add a 0. Else I want to convert into integer type. So what is this meaning of this condition? This condition is called a ternary operator. Okay, ternary condition. So it will check, it will work like a if condition. If this age equal to db null dot value, it will check the null or not. If it is a null, I'm going to assigning the 0. Else, this colon means else. Okay, this question mark means if. Okay, so we can write it two ways. And this colon mark else means it will convert it is a value and converting into integer type. Now run this application again. Click on employee list, click on continue. Now see I am able to getting the data. So first name, last name, email, salary, age. Now, if you observe here, rest of the values all are zeros because it is a null values. So in real time also, we'll display the data like this. Okay. So if you observe here, it is a type data joining. Now, client asked me, I don't want to display this time. It is a joining data. I want to display only data. I don't want to display this zero this time. So how to fix this issue? To fix this one, we have to change the data type. So it is a type is a joining data. It is a data time. So there are two ways. Index.html. Here we have to add a data to string or a dot to string. We have to add the format here. So I'm adding the dd mm and then y. Save this one. Reload. Click on the continue. Now see ddmmy. Okay, why I'm getting this y? Because this y always in a small letter, not a capital letter. Save. Reload application. Remove this debug point. Click on continue. Now see, this date is displaying only date format without displaying the time. So in real time also, client will ask us this kind of a requirement. We have to display data like this. So do you have any doubts? I will explain you now. So we are using the ADO.NET. Okay. So to get the data from database, first we require a connection. SQL connection is required. So that SQL connection, I have given this connection strings of this DB connection. You can give any name and then a connection string. This is a server name. Your server name you have to give it also. I given my SQL server name. And whenever you are doing the connection string, right, you have to give your SQL connection string name and database name. So what is our database name? Morning 9 a.m. is our database name. Integrated security means it is a Windows authentication. We are using the Windows authentication. And then I have created the one separate project business layer. Inside that one, I have created one data access. This data access layer is used to connect it to the database and retrieve data from data. Okay. Now I have created the one model. This model is used for retrieving the data. Okay. Now stopping this one. In this property we are not using name. This one. Okay, these all are properties which are present in my database table. So in this table, what are the columns we have? Same columns I have given. This is called a model. Okay, and if remember one thing, whatever the data type we are giving the string, integer or a datetime, this data type should match here. So here varchar means string, integer means integer only. Here datetime is given. So there also we have to give the same data type. If you give the mismatch data type, we will get a error conversion issues. We will get. Okay. So I used the data to get the data from database using the select start from table. So small applications means small companies, startup companies are the people who don't know how to write a standard queries. Those people will write a query like this directly select start from this. So they will write like this select start from table. But in a real time, we cannot write like this. We have to write a store procedure. With the help of store procedure, we will get this data. So now I want to use the store processor instead of writing this query. I'm creating the one more action. Copy this one, paste here, get employee data using the why I'm getting this. Okay, we have the class inside the class. Okay, so employee data using store processor. Okay, this is my action name. Now I want to get data from database with the help of a store processor. So if you open the database, open the store processor, get employees. So execute that one, FC, execute USP underscore get employees. Now see, I'm able to get the same data with the help of a store processor. Now I want to use this store processor into my application. Copy this one, store processor name, and remove this select query. Instead of select query, we have here the store processor name. And here we have to use the command type store processor. It is not a text. Command type dot stored processor. Now only these two steps are we need to change the rest of the same. Now instead of calling this action, I'm going to call in this one. Put a breakpoint here. Okay, coming to employee controller. So I'm changing this method name using the store process. Now run this application, we'll get the same result. There is no change. Okay, I'm getting the build error. So where it is a failed. I think it is one is extra. Now run this application again. Click on employee list. Now see this method is hitted. We are using the get employee data using SPS means store processor. Click on continue. Now see same data is displaying. So two different ways. One is using store processor. One is without store processor. Okay. Now we know the how to get a data from database with the help of store processor without a store processor. But in a real time, okay, client asked me, I don't want this, I want this list of data, but I want to add some provision. User able to cannot delete this data. So he want a delete. So we have to provide a delete action. And he may want edit also. For example, I want first name here G only, but I want to update this name, this last name or email or salary or age. Okay, I want to modify this data. Okay, so client asked the one more requirement to edit or to delete. So we need to provide that option to the end users. End user nothing but we are end users because we are able to see in this data, right? We are the end users. So if you observe here, I don't have any edit button or a delete button. I want to add two buttons here. From here, this is a list, right? In this list, I want to add one more TH. I'm adding the action season name. So where this action, we have a one more TD. In this TD, I want to add a one button. Okay. Or anchor tag. Anchor tag delete. So here we have to use the class btn btn. This is a danger because delete action we are giving. And then I want to add one more anchor tag for edit. class equal to btn country. Save this one. So you can continue. Now see, I'm able to see the actions, delete and editor. So if I click on a deleter, I want to delete this action. If I click on editor, I want to navigate into another page and I want to update this data. So we'll discuss only deleter. So we'll discuss edit option tomorrow. If I explain everything one day, you will confuse. Okay. You don't have time to practice also. If I explain one day everything, so you require the first time, more time it will take. After some time it will take, you can write a code quickly, but the first time it will take time to you also. That is why I don't want to explain more. I just explain you today only delete action. Okay. Okay. So this is delete. If I click on this delete, I want to delete this row. Okay. So come here in this index page. So I require to delete, right? So I have to the and the tag is required for that action is action. So it is a different overload methods. So click on this one. It is expecting the action name. If you click on this one and click on this icon, it is expecting the action name and if there are any route parameters. Okay. And then click on this one, action name and then a controller name. And finally, we have a object values also. So these are the ways we can pass. Now one more type. One is we have to pass a iterate action link. Copying this line. So copying the paste. So instead of here, I want to pass a ID. Based on ID, I want to display the value. I mean, I want to display the, I want to delete the ID. Copy this. Here, link text, action name. This is a text and going to use a delete. So here we have to use the class names. So don't worry about on this. We will get all this once we have to practice 2-3 times. Okay. Save this one. If you observe here, I'm passing the ID, but I have to read this ID, right? So I did not read this one ID comma whenever I'm reading this one. What is the issue? Input format. Save this one. If you observe here data access layer, I did not read the ID. So I have to read ID from a database. We have a ID column. So ID column is a integer type. Now this employee model dot ID equal to convert dot 2 into 32 data reader of ID. This ID should match the same column name. So open the database. So I is a capital, not a small. I capital. Copy this line and add this line above method also. Okay. So these two actions are both are the same. One is a without store processor, one is a with the store processor. Now come here. If I click on this, if I click on this one, I want to navigate into this delete page. Okay, delete action. So I don't have a delete action as of now. I just have an index action only present in my employee controller. Now create one more action, public. Here what I want to add a delete. Okay. So in this delete, after deleting this one, I want to redirect to the list page only, this page. Redirect to action. Action one is a index. So we have to write a breakdown. Now it is expecting the input parameter ID, integer type ID. Put a breakpoint here. Now run this application. And not write a logic for to delete, just write a action on that. Click on a employee list. Click on a delete. Now see, this is a coming. Now the ID is a 4. Now I want to delete this row by using the store procedure. Okay, same store procedure I have to use, and I need to delete this one. Now come here. We have a store procedure. Delete employee ID. This is our store procedure now. So write one more action in this data access. Public int delete employee by ID. By ID means you're passing the ID and deleting the action. And we should expect the ID input parameter is the ID, integer ID, and SQL connection. So we have to pass this connection string and then SQL command cmd equal to new SQL command. So this SQL command expecting the store procedure name. What is the store procedure name? USP underscore delete. This is a store procedure name. Copy this action and paste here. And what is the type of this one? Store procedure. cmd dot command type equal to command type dot store procedure. So we have to open the connection. So connection dot open and then cmd dot execute non-query. So if you mouse over on this execute non-query, it is returning the type integer. So if delete is successful, then it will return the 1. If it is not successful, it will return the 0. So I'm storing the int result equal to result. And then connection we have to close connection data close and then return a result. So this is the action I have written for to delete employee data. Okay. Now I want to call this action, right? Come to this employee controller. We have created the object data access layer. Copy this object data access layer object dot. We have a delete method, delete employee by ID. So we are passing the ID here as a input parameter. Once it is deleted successfully, again I want to navigate into this redirect to action. Okay, this is navigating to this same page only. We'll explain the what is the redirect action after this video. .NET. Copy this one. Now reload application. Click on employee list. Click on delete. Click on observe for put breakpoint. It is coming or not. Where is data is there, right? Put a breakpoint here. Click on continue. Now also on this ID, it is coming for click on attempt connection open. Okay. CMD data execute 9 procedure. Okay. Now see here procedure or function is expecting the parameter ID which was not supplied. So we have to pass input parameter to this store procedure. But I not pass any input parameter. That is why I'm getting the issue. So we have to pass input parameter. Now cmd dot parameters dot add with the value. So we have to pass a value. So at the rate ID equal to ID. Now come here. So to check this SP underscore helper text. Copy this one. It's here. We'll get this is stored procedure text. Click on new query. Paste here. So this is the input parameter. I is a capital. Okay. So we have to pass the I capital and the ID input parameter. This is the way to pass the input parameters. Now run this application. Click on employee list. Click on delete. Click on continue. Now click on F10. Line by line, we have to execute. Now mouse over on the result. Now it is deleted successfully. That is why it is written up more than a 0. Click on continue. Click on result. Continue. Now see that deleted data is deleted here. Now it is a Madhu record, right? I'm clicking on a Madhu. Now if you observe ID is 7. Click on continue. Click on continue. Now see Madhu is record is deleted. So like that we have to delete our applications. I mean we have to give provision to the end user, right? Delete editor. Editing is nothing but update. Okay. So we'll discuss the rest of the edit action everything by using the stored procedure. If I explain you one day, you will confuse how to write everything all this. Okay, I will explain everything from scratch again. I have created the one project, one new project in this solution. Right click on this solution, click on add, click on new project. So once you click on new project, we have to select a class library. Inside we have a .NET framework. Okay, and then give the name. If you not identify from this left side, we have to select a class library. It will display the same name. And keep this point. We have to in this tab all project. Then on it will display. After that, I have created the one more class data access layer. Okay, this is a class. In that class, I have taken the connection string everything and I used the SQL connection. After that, I created one more class called employee model. This employee model is nothing but what are the columns present in our table, same columns we have to give here. And then I have created the one controller, employee controller. So in this employee controller, I have an index action. So this index action is used to get the data from database. So we know how to get data from database by using the store procedure and without the store procedure. Two different ways I explained you. And then we have written the one more action that is called delete. So by using delete, we have to delete the employee data with the help of a store procedure only. Now if you observe here, I have written the store procedure name. This is our store procedure name. And then I have passed the input value. Okay. And one more in layout, I have added the one more link to navigate into the employee list. This is the action name. This is the controller name. Okay. So we have to give the reference, this business layer reference into this MVC employee class. Right click on this references. Click on references. So if you click on a project, it will display the what are the project we have created. That one we have to check this one and click OK. It will add. And here also I have added the business layer reference. So here I added the click on assemblies. In this assemblies, we have to select the configuration, system data configuration. Okay. So if you observe here, system data configuration, this reference we have to add, then only it will work this reference class. Where is this? This configuration manager coming from okay, using system data configuration namespace. So we have to, it will work by, we need to import this one. Okay. So these are the steps we have to add. Please watch this video. Okay, practice complete on today. So tomorrow we will discuss the how to edit data. When I click on edit button, we can update the editor. Okay, and then we can create a means a list of employee data we want to add from the list. So same we can do update, edit, delete, insert everything we have to work on for the operations by using the ADO.NET. After that we will use the entity framework. Okay. So MVC it will take some time because it has a more concept. I can complete if I explain it 2 hours, it will completely, but I don't want to make confused. That is why I'm explaining you every less concepts. Okay. Do you have any doubts?
ఇది మనము ఎడిట్ గాని, డిలీట్ గాని చేసినప్పుడు ఇట్ వోంట్ ఎఫెక్ట్ డేటాబేస్ గదా! ఉత్తి వెబ్ పేజ్‌లోనే అది అప్‌డేట్ అయితది.
ఇట్ విల్ ఎఫెక్ట్ ఇన్ డేటాబేస్.
డేటాబేస్‌లో గూడా డిలీట్ అయిపోతదా?
మరి మనం అంతే కదా
ఓకే.
రాసేది.
ఓకే. ఓకే.
స్టోర్ ప్రాసెసర్ వి ఆర్ యూజింగ్ ద డేటాబేస్ రైట్.
హుహు.
సో డేటాబేస్‌లో డిలీట్ అవుతది ఇది.
ఓకే.
ఓకే. సో రేపు ఒక లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్సర్ట్ కోసం ఇంకొక పేజ్ క్రియేట్ చేద్దాము. సో ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్ నుంచి మనం డేటా ఎంటర్ చేస్తే డేటాబేస్‌లో డేటా సేవ్ అవ్వాలి.
ఓకే.
ఓకే. సో అవి రేపు చూద్దాము. ఇప్పుడు మొత్తం ఒకేసారి ఎక్స్‌ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తే కన్‌ఫ్యూజ్ అవుతారు. అందుకే చెప్పట్లేదు. ఓకే. ఇంకేమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయండి మీకు? వేరే వాళ్ళకి?
హలో.
చెప్పండండి.
ఇప్పుడు ADO.NET మనం ఒక క్లాస్ యాడ్ చేసి దాన్ని యాడ్ చేస్తాం కదా!
ఆ!
డిఫాల్ట్‌గా మనకి డేటాబేస్ వచ్చేసి మోడల్ ఇట్లా చూపిస్తుంది కదా!
అవును.
సో అప్పుడు కూడా మనం ఈ కనెక్షన్ స్ట్రింగ్స్ ఇవన్నీ రాయాలంటారా? అంటే
రాయాలి. ఇవన్నీ రాయాలి మనం.
ఓకే.
ఓకే. సో ఇన్ రియల్ టైమ్ ఏంటంటే ఓల్డ్ ప్రాజెక్ట్‌లో ADO.NET యూజ్ చేస్తారు.
ఓకే.
ఇప్పుడు ప్రెజెంట్ అయితే ADO.NET వాడట్లేదు. MVC కంటే బిఫోర్ ఏంటంటే ASP.NET‌లో ADO.NET యూజ్ చేశారనమాట. బట్
ఓకే.
మన ADO.NET కూడా నేర్చుకుంటే ఏంటంటే బై మిస్టేక్ మనకి ADO.NET ప్రాజెక్ట్ అసైన్ అయిందనుకోండి. సో అప్పుడు మళ్ళీ మనకు తెలియదని చెప్పకుండా ఉండటానికి నేను అన్నీ మీకు నేర్పిస్తున్నాను అంతే.
ఓకే. మరి ఎంటిటీ ఫ్రేమ్‌వర్క్ కూడా యూజ్ చేస్తారా?
ఎంటిటీ ఫ్రేమ్‌వర్క్ కూడా యూజ్ చేస్తారు. ఎంటిటీ ఫ్రేమ్‌వర్క్ యూజ్ చేస్తారు. ఇదేంటంటే MVC కంటే ముందల మనకి ASP.NET అనే ఓ టెక్నాలజీ ఉండేది. అప్పుడు మనం
ఓకే.
ADO.NET యూజ్ చేసాం. ASP.NET తర్వాత MVC ఫ్రేమ్‌వర్క్ ఇంట్రొడ్యూస్ చేశారు. సో ఈ MVCలో ఏంటంటే ఎంటిటీ ఫ్రేమ్‌వర్క్ వాడతారు. ADO.NET వాడరు. బట్ కొంతమంది ADO.NET కూడా వాడతారు. అందుకని అన్నీ చెప్తున్నాను. సో మనకు ఎంటిటీ ఫ్రేమ్‌వర్క్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ వచ్చిందనుకోండి. ఎంటిటీ ఫ్రేమ్‌వర్క్ మీద నేర్చుకోవచ్చు. అన్ని వర్క్ చేయొచ్చు. ADO.NET ఇస్తే ADO.NET కూడా మనం వర్క్ చేయొచ్చు. అంటే మనకు తెలీదు అని చెప్పకుండా ఉండటానికి ప్రతిదీ మీకు చెప్తున్నాను రియల్ టైమ్.
ఓకే.
మీరు నేను చెప్పింది ప్రాక్టీస్ చేశారంటే మీకు మినిమమ్ 2-3 ఇయర్స్ ఎక్స్‌పీరియన్స్ కోసం ఎంత నాలెడ్జ్ ఉంటదో అంత నాలెడ్జ్ మీకుంటది. కంప్లీట్ రియల్ టైమే ఎక్స్‌ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తున్నాను. ఓకే. ఇక్కడ ఈ సెపరేట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేయకుండా సేమ్ ఇదంతా వచ్చేసి ఈ మోడల్‌లోనే ఈ మోడల్ స్కాలర్‌లో సేమ్ ఈ 2 క్లాసులు ఇక్కడ క్రియేట్ చేసి ఇక్కడే చేయగలుగుతా. కానీ అట్లా చేస్తే ఏంటంటే ఒక ప్రాజెక్ట్ నుంచి ఇంకో ప్రాజెక్ట్‌కి రిఫరెన్స్ ఎలా ఇవ్వాలనేది మీకు తెలీదు.
ఓకే.
ఓకే. అందుకని నేను మళ్ళీ సెపరేట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేసి మీకు చూపిస్తున్నాను అన్నమాట.
ఓకే.
ఇంకా ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయండి?
అంతే అండి. ఇంకా ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తే తెలుస్తా ఉంటది.
ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తుంటే డౌట్స్ వస్తుంటాయి.
డౌట్స్ వస్తాయి.
సో కొంచెం టైం పడతది. ఎందుకంటే ఈ సింటాక్స్ అంతా న్యూ సింటాక్స్ కదా! సో ఇమ్మీడియేట్‌గా వెంటనే గుర్తుండదు. మనం చేసిన పని ఒక 4, 5 టైమ్స్ చేస్తే గాని మనకి ఈ కోడింగ్ అనేది గుర్తుంటదన్నమాట. మనం ఇంటర్వ్యూకెళ్తే వాళ్ళు ఈ కోడ్ రాపిస్తారు పేపర్ మీద. సో మీరు పేపర్ మీద ప్రాక్టీస్ కూడా చేయండి. సిస్టమ్ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలి. పేపర్ ప్రాక్టీస్ కూడా చేయాలి. అట్లా పేపర్ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తే మనకు కూడా కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ ఉంటది. ఓకే. సో మనం రేపటి నుంచి మార్నింగ్ 7 కనెక్ట్ అవుదాం. ఒక 1 వీక్ కొంచెం ఇబ్బందిగా ఉంటది. మార్నింగే లేవాలి కదా! నిద్ర లేవాలి. తర్వాత అలవాటైపోద్ది. ఓకే. సో ఇంకేమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా వేరే వాళ్ళకి? డౌట్స్ ఏం లేవు. ఓకే. అయితే రేపు కనెక్ట్ అవుదాం. వేరే టాపిక్ డిస్కస్ చేద్దామండి. ఓకే. సో ఐ యామ్ ఎండింగ్ దిస్ క్లాస్ టుడే. ఓకే. బాయ్ ఆల్.
Bye, everyone.